Ready? Fired up? Need a little energy here, so let's go. But anyway, no, it's great to be here in El Paso. Believe it or not, I was here in 1969. I coached University of Nebraska. A guy by the name of Bob Devaney. And I was my first year as a coach, really. I played for Devaney. And then I became a grad assistant, and two coaches left, the second coach and linebacker coach, and he moved up from a freshman GA, and very successful that year. Coach Devaney had two back-to-back 6-4 seasons. He was very, very successful. He had two back-to-back 6-4 seasons. Some of the people up in Omaha or whatever, some of the big boosters were kind of like, what's the deal here? Because he turned the whole program around in 1962 as a player when he came there. I'm not trying to talk about Bob Devaney, but anyway, long story short, I was coaching the defense that year, and we ended up 9-2 and played Georgia in the Sun Bowl, and I hadn't been back here since. And as soon as my son said we were going to the Sun Bowl, I said, "Oh, I can tell you, they treat you really, really well." And didn't make that up because I remember, and it hasn't changed one bit, and I mean that. Anyway, go ahead. Any questions?
I guess their defense has given up a lot of points and a lot of yards. What do you see there that you exploit?
Well, now I'm defense.
Oh, I'm sorry. Talk about
Now you could ask that over here.
Yeah, talk about the challenge of preparing for it all.
Yeah, okay. Because that is a different deal there now. No, really, back again when I was younger, coaching, played in the Big 8 at Nebraska or whatever, coached there for years, but we would play Oklahoma, and they ran the wishbone in those days. Barry Switzer, if you can think back in the early 70s, and then they call this a double wing. I don't know exactly what Georgia calls it. I'd call it a double wing T. But it's the wishbone, and the two halfbacks were back here, and they moved up to wings now. But it's a three-back offense. It's the same thing called triple option. It's the fullback dive, the quarterback keep, and the pitch. I think back from those days, it's like any offense. Spread offenses every year, they evolve to more things than this. This offense does a lot more. The wishbone didn't motion much in those days. These guys motion back in the backfield, and you don't know which way they're going. I also go back to this. It's about who runs the offense, who coaches the offense. A lot of people try to run this type of offense, the Air Force, Navy, all those people. Other people around the country do a good job. Bob Sutton ran the wishbone years ago at Army. They had a lot of success. And Bear Bryant, he ran Alabama. Darrell Royal coached against him at Texas. They ran the wishbone. I was at Arkansas at that time. Anyway, but it's who's coaching it. And they have a great staff. I'm not saying that. They put it on tape. And the head coach and his staff, they've been together a long time. They know exactly what they're doing. There's nothing you can show them they haven't seen. If this was the first year they were doing this offense, I would feel a lot better about it. If they just put it in this year for the first time. And sometimes they'll get, some people playing pretty well, and sometimes people don't, and you better be prepared. I think it's like, you don't see it all year long. If you'd have played something, maybe once earlier in the year, or maybe last year, we hadn't experienced that in USC or in our defense, but we haven't, so we've got to really be on it.
Is it an advantage having a whole month instead of 2 weeks?
Could be, maybe, because it's a little more accustomed to seeing it, but in the same sense, it gives them more time too. They're definitely going to be prepared. And also, what happens, I don't know what they're doing with their personnel and stuff, but I do know this: that the more practice they've had, the number of practices now, it's kind of like spring practice. They've definitely gotten better. I don't care if it's the right guard, the center, the halfback, the quarterbacks, whatever. They got better. I know that right now. That's probably the hardest thing to do. It always has been. The same day back in the wishbone days, you have to take somebody. It's not going to be your top two quarterbacks, that's for sure. But it's also in our offense, we don't really even run the spread offense or the offense where we run a lot of option. So you have to sometimes fit in who the quarterback's going to be, the fullback. You have to work really hard. We had to practice a lot. We had our grad assistants coach up our offenses just like they were coaching the offense that. We run or whatever. They had to go out early and practice, and they had to be on it, because whatever look you get, it's going to happen different on game day, because it's so quick. I mean, you try to simulate a dive and a quarterback keep it and then pitch the ball, and on game day, the experience that I've experienced in defensing this type of triple option it happens a lot quicker. And the linemen come off the ball, and but so we got to be ready. Try to do good. Try to get a good look at that.
Monty, they were talking about, during the practice coaches were saying one of the ways you prepare for a game like this, if you look at the history of the staff you're playing, and accept how they play against certain offenses, and they said they kind of gave up on trying to figure out if you hadn't had a chance to play against a triple option in a long time. Where did you go, for example, to look at how teams play the triple option? Did you talk to people about how you defend this and all that?
Yeah, we talked to a few people. We did. Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. And then we had to, we went back and looked at a lot of tape and We had to, and everybody plays them different, So you kind of have to decide, and you can't do too much, because then all of a sudden you're going to get out of whack because your players aren't used to seeing it.
How different is it from anything you've done this year for you?
Totally different. It's not like anything for any of our staff or players.
Any similar to what Oregon does, some of the stuff?
Not really. That's a whole different deal. Well, SC, it speaks for itself. It's a great place, it really is, and I've had a lot of fun playing here, or coaching here. The players and the coaches. Some people say, pro football or college or whatever. I like them both, I think getting back in college, being around the young coaches, and actually I got into recruiting and things like that. It's a lot of fun. It really is. I also would enjoy pro football and hopefully get back in the NFL.
Anything else? All right, let's go with offensive coordinator Kennedy Palomalo.
Yes.